Hello and welcome to a very chill video. I'm currently sitting on the floor, if you haven't noticed that the books are slightly different than usual because usually I'm standing up. The reason we are here is to have a chill talk about books that are coming out this year that I'm excited about. Or at least that I've heard of and thought they sounded interesting. A few of these have already come out, but I have not read them, bought them, whatever. So I'm gonna include them in this video for future reference. I find it fun going back to old videos like this one and seeing books that I've either read and liked or disliked and books that I changed my mind about. Stuff like that, I found it interesting. Since I'm gonna go in the order of the day it was published or month or whatever, I'm gonna start with the ones obviously that have already come out since it is February. So the first book is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. It's like a spin-off of Cruel Prince. I enjoyed Cruel Prince. It wasn't one of my favorite books ever, series, whatever, but it was enjoyable. I liked them, so I was interested in this. The next is a book I haven't seen anyone talk about, I think, and it's called Song of Silver, Flame of Night, Flame Like Night by Emily Wenzhou. I'm gonna butcher a lot of names. I'm really sorry. This book is apparently a retelling of Chinese mythology, so I found that very interesting because I don't think I've read something like that before. I don't really like to know what books are about. I'd like to know a general idea, but not exactly. But what I know about this book is that it's about a girl who has some sort of magical powers or something, and a boy who recognizes that she has those powers because of a mark somewhere on her body. And I think they're trying to overthrow the king or something. I don't know. It sounded interesting, and also the cover is really beautiful, so don't judge me. Next, we have a book I've seen a million people reading recently, which is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. From what I've seen, it's basically a romance, obviously. It's YA, which is interesting, but it's about these two people that hate each other. I think one is super popular, the other one is not. Don't remember. Again, I don't like to really 100% know. And they go to a survivalist camp and they're forced to work together, which is always a lovely time when they're forced to be together. Next is one I'm super excited to read, and it's Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I loved Ninth House when I read it. I don't know what it is actually about other than a sequel of the first one. So yeah, hopefully I'll read it soon. I might need to reread Ninth House though, because I clearly don't remember that much. Next is another book I'm really excited for because it's a sort of sequel to one of my favorite books of all time. It is book 1.5. It's called Mysteries of Thorn Manor. I'm so excited to go back into that world. I might need to buy it now. But I'm trying to control myself with my urge to buy more books, you know? So we're gonna maybe hold off until my birthday, which is in April. If we can. Again, might need to reread Sorcery of Thorns, mostly for my own need to go back into that world and reread one of my favorite books. But yeah, I'm excited. The next book I haven't seen anyone talk about either. I found it randomly. It is called As You Walk On by Julian Winters. You might be confused as to why I would want to read this, but one of my favorite movies of my teenage years, for some reason, was The Breakfast Club, and this title alludes to that. Basically, it's a retelling of Breakfast Club, which, yay, love that. It is about this guy who, at this party gets dared to prompose, which, ew, I hate that word. Ask somebody out to prom at that party to, their crush. I don't remember exactly. I think they get turned down, so he, closes himself off in a bedroom, but other people start going into the bedroom also to be left alone and get away from the party, and that's kind of the Breakfast Club vibes. That's all I needed to know. I don't exactly know what it is actually about. I don't know if it's a romance or just contemporary, but it sounded like something I would like since I loved Breakfast Club back back then. The next book is a book that came out literally a couple of days ago, since I'm filming this early February. And it's Final Offer by Lauren Asher, which is the third and last book, I think, of the Dreamland Billionaires series. I loved the first one, still haven't read the second one. If you haven't ever heard of this series, the series follows three brothers whose grandfather leaves them letters that they have to complete what says on the letter in order to get their inheritance. And this one is about, it's a childhood best friend romance slash second chance romance, I think. The guy, the brother, whatever, his grandfather tells him he needs to sell this house that they own. The problem is that his lost love, childhood best friend, whatever, lives in that house and owns, like, her name is on the deed, I think the name is. So to sell the house, it's more complicated than what it looks like. So I'm excited. Now we're finally on to books that have not come out as of filming. The first one is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Somehow I got the name right. By Roshani Chokshi. I don't really know how to say that. Anyways, I don't really know what this book is about. I think it's like a, what is the name of that, like, tale? I think it's like Blackbeard, whatever. It's the one which is like, this girl marries this man and he says you can never open this specific door. She opens the door and there's a bunch of dead bodies. I got that vibe from this book. It's about this couple that gets married and the woman says you can never dig into my past. One day when the female character leaves for, I think, some family member is dying, the husband cannot resist, so he tries to dig into her past and finds out that her childhood best friend went missing suspiciously. So yeah, that's the only thing I know. I don't really know exactly, but it sounded kind of interesting. And I, as a child, was kind of obsessed with the, I think it's Blackbeard, Bluebeard, something along those lines. I remember a lot of like TV shows having that and me being scared but loving it at the same time. So yeah. The next book is another really exciting one, which is the prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is called A Day of Fallen Night. Don't know what it's about, don't really want to know. I'm just going into it blind. I don't know if I need to reread Priory of the Orange Tree. I might, just for fun. I'm putting a lot of books I want to reread on my list, but anyways. Don't know what it's about, but I'm excited because Priory of the Orange Tree was a 5-star, so fun. Next is The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, and this is about pirates and like trying to get somebody who's been kidnapped, and I think it's either new adult or adult, so maybe some exciting parts in the book. The next book is a really random book that I found, but sounded like a fun time, even though the average rating is kind of low. But it's A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley, which is so random, but it sounded like a fun time. I think the title of the book is self-explanatory, but it just sounded fun, and it's a random little book. The next book is called Grey Mist Fair by Francesca Zappia. Eliza and Her Monsters, which is by the same author, is one of my favorite books, so when I saw this on like 2023 releases, I was excited. I haven't read anything else from her, so it's a murder mystery inspired by the Grimm brothers, so I am excited. Even though, again, the average rating is low, it's like a 3.5-ish, but I love the Brothers Grimm, so maybe this would be fun, I don't know. The next book is another Emily Henry book that's coming out, and it's about a couple who broke up and didn't tell anyone, so they pretend to still be dating. That's all I know about it. The next book is a new Becky Albertalli book, which is called Imogen. I don't know how to say this name, obviously. That's the title of the book. And this follows a girl who fully believes that she is straight, but after something happens, she starts questioning her sexuality. And that sounded pretty fun to me. Next is a new Amy Kaufman book, which is The Isles of Gods. The only thing I know about this is that it's about a kind of piratey girl and a prince that has to like cross the sea or something, and they have to work together to stop a war, something like that. It's not sci-fi, which is kind of sad, but it Sounded interesting. Next is a new Morgan Matson book, which is Firefly Summer, which for some reason is middle grade, which I'm kind of intrigued about because usually it's young adult. You can see one book right there. It's usually young adult, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm still interested in reading it. And it's about this girl who's trying to find treasure during summer. That's all I know. The next book I have on my list is another Christina Lauren book, which is The True Love Experiment, which is about a romance author and a movie director trying to create a perfect romantic movie. And I love that. And I'm excited. I'm excited for everything Christina Lauren. Next is another book that I found randomly again. It is called Court of the Undying Seasons by A.M. Strickland. Sorry. And it's about a vampire school, I'm pretty sure. And at the same time, there's like a murder mystery element inside the school. There's like somebody murdering people. But it said it was for fans of Sarah J. Maas and A Deadly Education, which I have not read yet. So I like Sarah J. Maas books, so I'm excited. Next is a new Ali Hazelwood book, which I think is part of like a series, which is Love Hypothesis. The middle one, which I forgot, and this new one are kind of like a series. I don't really know actually. But this one's about a girl who gets paid to be a fake girlfriend, and that was all I needed to know, honestly. Next is another book that I haven't seen anyone talk about, which is Threads That Bind by Kika Hatsopoulos, and it's a Greek mythology, the Fates retelling. That's all I know about it. It sounded interesting. The next book is a new Rachel Lynn Solomon book, which is called Business or Pleasure. I don't really know what this is about, honestly. It sounded kind of fun when I read what it was about. The only thing I know is that it's about a ghostwriter woman and a like struggling actor that work together for some reason. I don't really know why. The next book is called Zara by S.J. Jones. I'm gonna be honest, I saw that it said Sailor Moon meets Cinder, and Cinder, love that, so I was immediately want to read. It's basically about a bunch of magicians that are turning into monsters, and the main character is trying to figure out why and how to help it. Kind of like The Plague in Cinder, so slay. Next is a new Carrie Maniscalco book, which is called The Throne of the Fallen. I think it's a spin-off series that Envy is the main character, but I don't know. And the last book that I have on my list so far in the year is called Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher, which is a set in medieval times, where these two people are like betrothed or married, but they hate each other, but they find out that they like other people. The girl likes another girl and the guy likes a guy. So they decide to partner up to like be with respective people. I don't really know actually. So yeah, those are all the books that I have on my list so far of like new releases that are coming out. If there are a couple that I have not mentioned that you think I would like, please tell me in the comments, because I'm always looking for new books. I don't know what that was. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next word video. Bye!